Welcome Bitcoin friends, it's Bitcoin Mamo. So we're going to look at the Bitcoin charts, do some TA, we'll look at various time frames, we'll also take a look at the Bitcoin futures chart and also market cipher. So if that sounds interesting, stay tuned and let's get into the charts. So I want to start here comparing Bitcoin with some altcoins over the month of November. And what we can see is Bitcoin is in white here. It's currently up around 5%. We see in green Ethereum is up 6.26%. ADA in yellow is up 4.1%. Link in purple is up 3.27%. The Solana still outperforming the collection of altcoins here, up 17%. And we see Matic in blue down 9.8%. And onto the weekly chart for Bitcoin now. We still have this parallel channel drawn here on the log scale. And we see Bitcoin did close the weekly here with a green candle. We did have a pullback, but then did have a pump to the upside just before the weekly close. So the weekly candles here are still looking good. And we can see we are having this pullback at the start of the week. We do have this order block drawn in here. And these order blocks are supply and demand zones. There are red candles in an uptrend and a green candle in a downtrend. There were buyers and sellers here, so it becomes of interest later on when we do reach those levels and it can become an area of support or resistance. We do just have this one weekly order block here, and what's interesting with this order block is if we do a Fibonacci extension here on this previous pullback from 53 down to 40k approximately, this is a regular fib extension, not with the log settings. We see that 1.618 level is in line with this order block. We also have another 1.618 level here, and we got that from doing the fib extension from the previous bull market top at 20k down to the bear market low. And this is with the log setting on the Fibonacci. I do like to use the log setting on the more longer term analysis, but the regular settings on the Fibonacci with these more shorter term moves here and extensions. But we can see that these two both do line up around the same area. This one's at around 62,000 and this shorter term extension's at 61.1. So I do think this is a key level here. And we also see we are dancing around the all-time high here back in April, which was at 65,000. And I will go into that in more detail in another chart, as I think we're doing a similar thing here to when we broke that 20k level after breaking the previous all-time high here back at the end of last year. Looking at the weekly EMA ribbon, we can see it is still ticking higher. Currently the top of the ribbon's at 53,230. And pulling up the VPVR, the amount of volume traded at certain price levels, we do see a bit of a spike here also where this order block is around this 61,000 to 61.5 level. We also see a lot of support coming in at around 58,000. And looking at the stochastic RSI, we are still hovering around in the 90 readings here. And as mentioned previously, we can stay up here for quite a long time when we are quite bullish. The RSI is trying to get above this 70 level, which is a key level to get above. As we look back on that initial part of the bull run here, we did get resistance initially here at that 70 level. And then when we did eventually break it, we can see it was on this candle here. And we did start trending higher quite quickly. So I think that's a key level on the weekly RSI to get above, to really start seeing some bigger movements to the upside. Onto the daily time frame now, we have that same channel drawn on the log scale. And just zooming into our current price action, you can see we did have this triangle drawn here in white. Had a couple touches on the bottom, a couple on the top, and on the third touch we did break above this triangle. We did have this nice move towards 69,000, and then we did get this aggressive pullback here. We did come all the way down to 62.5 approximately, and pretty much tested the top of this triangle. We didn't touch it, but we did get quite close to it, and we did get a nice bounce off that area. We did move all the way up to 66,000, and now we are seeing a pullback currently at 64,000. We do have these order blocks drawn in on the daily time frame. This blue order block here comes from this red candle in an uptrend. We also have this other order block in the blue, which comes from all the way back in April near our peak, where we got this green candle in this downtrend. So we can see we did come down into this order block and we did go below it, but the bodies of the candles have all closed well above this order block, and looks like we are coming down possibly to test this again. And if we do start closing daily candles below this order block, then I would look for this order block lower down to act as support, and this is at around 61.6 down to 60,900 approximately. We also see using the Fib tool from this low here at 57k to our peak at 69, we see that golden pocket area is in line with this order block at around 61.8. Also looking at some Fib extensions here from this pullback here, we can see that 1.618 level is at 73,000. And what's interesting is doing a Fib extension from this high down to this low, as long as we don't make a lower low, we see that 1.618 level is also in line with this 1.618 level at around that 73,000 area. This was my initial target after breaking this triangle pattern. And if we do go below this level at 62.4, then obviously we will redraw this Fib extension level. And pulling up the EMA ribbon here on the daily, we can see it is still acting as support on all these pullbacks. And with this last pullback here down to 62.4, we wicked into that ribbon and did get a nice bounce again. The top of this ribbon is currently at 63.3 and is in line with this higher order block here. So do expect this ribbon to hold, even if we do go into it a little bit deeper here and possibly to this second order block. And looking at the VPVR now, we can see we do have support here that does come in around this order block also, around that 63.3 level. And we do have more support further down with the most amount of volume traded at 61.3. So we do have a lot of support here on the VPVR, and with the EMA ribbon and these order blocks, I do expect these levels to hold on a pullback. So why did we have this pullback here after making a new all-time highs? If we look at the RSI here, we can see we did have bearish divergence between this high and the higher high, and we made lower highs on the RSI, and this did result in this pullback. At the time, I did think we were probably going to trend a bit higher here and try to make a higher high on the RSI and the price, but this did play out and we did get this pullback. Normally, to confirm this divergence, the candle on the pullback here would normally need to engulf the previous candle, and that would confirm the divergence enough for me to say that it is going to have a bigger correction. But this was obviously a pretty big candle here on the daily, so it was hard to tell if this divergence was going to play out or if we were going to keep on traveling higher and make that higher high on the RSI also. Can see the stochastic RSI is down at a 26 level, and we have cooled off on the way back down here. Onto the Bitcoin futures chart on CME, have that same parallel channel on the log scale. This is the order block from the all-time high in April, and we can see we have come into that order block here and we have still closed above it like we have on the spot price chart. But what's interesting about this pullback that we just had on the futures chart is if we look closely here, we have to zoom in quite a lot. We can see this wick here and the opening on the new week and the new day on the futures chart. We did have this small gap here. It was only a small gap. It was between 62,865 and 62,915. And on this first major pullback here, we didn't quite close that gap. We did close just above this green candle, but we can see we filled out this wick, and with this continued pullback here with this wick, we did close that small gap here. Looking at the EMA ribbon, we do see it also acted as support here on this pullback on the futures chart. Currently the top of this ribbon's at 62.5. The VPVR is slightly different here on the futures chart to the spot price chart, with the most amount of volume here traded at 62,620, and we did wick to that level and get that strong bounce. So we do have support on the VPVR here and also that daily EMA ribbon. We also had the same bearish divergence here on the futures chart, making higher highs on the price and lower highs on the RSI. And the stochastic RSI is also pretty much cooled off here, down at a 20 reading, similar to the spot price chart. Down to the 4-hour time frame now, we have that same triangle drawn in here. We did come back and almost retest that triangle. We also have these daily order blocks drawn in here, but shown on the 4-hour chart. Looking at the fib tool here from this low to this high, we see that golden pocket area here, down at 61,800 approximately. And I've also got drawn in the 0.5 level here, which is around this order block area. And doing a fib retracement from this low here to the high, we see that golden pocket area is around 63.5, and this is in line with that 0.5 fib level. So this area could hold and we might see a bounce, but if we do start closing below this golden pocket area and this order block, as mentioned, I'd look for this lower order block here and this golden pocket area down at 61.8 to 61.5 approximately, with the bottom of that order block at 60,900. The EMA ribbon has started condensing together again, so it has become less reliable. We have to look towards those higher time frames and that daily EMA ribbon. Pulling up the VPVR, we can see on this recent pullback here, there was a spike here, and it looks like it has acted as resistance, and we have had this pullback. And similar to on that daily chart, we can see some support on the VPVR around this first golden pocket area here and this first order block, and the most amount of support further down around this golden pocket area from this low to this high, and also that second order block. Looking at the stochastic RSI, we can see it's starting to come down quite quickly now. It's down at a 38 reading, and it does have a few more candles before this will completely cool off. And looking at the RSI, we did actually have some hidden bullish divergence between this point here on the RSI and this point. We made lower lows on the RSI, and looking at the price at the same points, we did make higher lows. So that was hidden bullish divergence, and as I mentioned, you can confirm that with the following candle here engulfing the previous red candle, and that was confirmed, and then we did push higher here, and now we are having this pullback. So if we do go lower than this point here, perhaps we might make that hidden bullish divergence again with a lower point while still making a higher high above this 60,400 area. But we'll have to watch how Bitcoin responds to this order block and this first golden pocket area first. Now I just want to compare Bitcoin back at the end of 2020 here, when we did break that previous all-time high from the 2017 bull run at 20k. And just looking back here, I've just got that 20k level marked from the 2017 peak here with this yellow line. And on the right here is our current price action, and this yellow line is that 65k high back in April. And I want to compare how we responded to breaking that previous all-time high here. And there are some similarities here. So we can see here Bitcoin going from 15,000 to 20k here. We did have a nice run up and then a decent pullback. We did come to the golden pocket area here. This is the regular fib retracement, not with the log settings. We can see we had this run up. We pulled back to that golden pocket area, and comparing it here on our run up from 53k to 67k. And then we got that big pullback back down to 57.5k. We can see we came back to that golden pocket area here with the bodies of these candles closing in that golden pocket area. And looking back here, after that pullback to that golden pocket area, we did carry higher from 16k to that 20k peak. We did get another pullback back down to 17.6, and that pullback also came to that golden pocket area, and then we did get that bounce. We also had this trend line just connecting these lows. We did see we pulled back to that trend line, which was in line with that golden pocket area. So just comparing it to our current price action, you can see we are coming down here, currently at 63.6. We have this golden pocket area drawn here, and just connecting these two lows, we can see that they do line up similarly to back at the end of 2020. And this area would be down at 61.9 approximately. And we can see with our current candle that would line up with the golden pocket area. And also on the next daily candle here, this is the daily chart on both of these, we can see that that would line up here on a pullback with that 61.9k area. And we could possibly be doing a similar thing here. So we did make higher highs here. We did also make higher highs here on this chart and got that one more pullback before breaking that all-time high of 20k. And we can see we did start moving quite quickly after doing that. So we could be doing a similar thing here, have one more pullback to this golden pocket area. We talked about all that support on the VPVR and the EMA ribbon, and also those order blocks. This red candle is one of those order blocks on the daily that we talked about, and we can see it lines up with this area. So we could possibly come back to this trend line and the golden pocket area and then get a bounce and continue the bull run, doing a similar thing to what we did, breaking that 20k level. Now looking at a market cipher and comparing our 2013 end of bull run with our current bull run, we had those similar mid-cycle pullbacks. We've talked about that a lot in the previous videos, and we were comparing a market cipher here with that 2013 bull run and our current bull run. On the top row here is market cipher on the 2-day time frame. This row here is the 3-day time frame. The next row is the 4-day time frame, and the last row here is the 5-day time frame. We were following this. We were seeing a lot of similarities here. This red candle here was the bottom of the mid-cycle pullback, and this red candle here was also the bottom of that mid-cycle pullback in our current bull run. So we were doing quite similar things here. It's a bit choppy with these red and green dots on the 2-day chart and also the 3-day chart here, but looking at the 4-day and the 5-day chart, we can see after recovering from that mid-cycle pullback, we did go sideways for a while here after getting these red dots on the 4 and the 5-day chart. And then once we got these green dots here, we can see that we started accelerating to finish off the rest of this bull run. And this is the peak up here in 2013. So we're looking for a similar thing here on the 4 and the 5-day chart. And we can see we started recovering from that mid-cycle pullback, have been stuck in this range here for quite a while, similar to 2013. And we did get those red dots here and on the 4 and the 5-day, and we're looking for those green dots to appear to do something similar to 2013. We did get those green dots, but now we can see on this pullback we are getting these red dots. These 4-day and 5-day red dots aren't confirmed yet, and we won't open a new candle until the 17th of November. If we can recover in that time and these red dots disappear, we will still look similar to 2013 here. And again, these don't have to be the same. We were just noticing some similarities with the price action and also what was happening on market cipher. We'll have to wait for the 4 and 5-day candle to open on the 17th of November to see if these red dots are still here and confirmed. The higher term time frames are still very bullish, and we're doing that same comparison here, 2013 on the left, our current cycle on the right. This is the bottom of the mid-cycle pullback and the recovery, and this is on the weekly chart with the price action. This is also the weekly chart. This was the bottom of the mid-cycle pullback, 30k, and we started recovering here. This first row on Market Cipher is the weekly time frame, second row the 2-week time frame, the third row the 3-week time frame, and the bottom row the 4-week time frame. And this sort of smooths out those red and green dots. We can see something very similar. We did get that weekly green dot here, and it did start that recovery from the mid-cycle pullback. And then we did have a quick correction down here with these red dots on the 1-week and the 2-week chart. And then we did get these green dots from the 1-week, the 2-week, the 3-week, and then the 4-week chart, and finish off the bull run. So we did a similar thing here. We got that weekly green dot, started recovering from that mid-cycle pullback. Then we did have a bit of a correction with this red dot on the weekly and the 3-week. And then we did start getting these green dots here on the weekly, the 3-week, and also the 4-week. So they do still look quite similar when comparing them side by side, and there's no red dot present on the weekly time frame yet. And the 2-week looks strong here, and also the 3-week and the 4-week. And just quickly on the Market Cipher here, just something I noticed on the 6-hour chart, we do have a blood diamond here. And these can pop up when we are going to have a big drop. This hasn't been confirmed yet until the close of the day. So we'll have to see if this blood diamond does stay here. And just looking back here, the last blood diamond was back here on the 2nd of November. And they're not 100% reliable here. Quite often they do result in a decent pullback. We can see this one didn't really do much, and we did recover from that. But looking back further, you have to go back a lot further for the one before that, and that one was back in 25th of June, and we can see we did pull back from 34,500 to 30,200. So decent pullback, about a 12 or 13% pullback from that blood diamond. The money flow was in the red at that stage, and currently on this blood diamond here, the money flow is in the green. So just a bit of a warning signal, but we'll have to see how that plays out. Perhaps we're going to come back to around that 61,000 area where that second order block is that we talked about. And that would be a decent correction of around 8%, but we'll have to wait for this to be confirmed. And again, that will be confirmed at the end of the day. So a little bit bearish short term, but bullish long term. And I'll just be watching this order block here to see how Bitcoin responds. We'll have to see how the daily closes, because these are daily order blocks. And if we do close the daily candle below this order block, which would be below 63,000 approximately, then possibly we're going to have a bigger pullback down to this lower order block and this golden pocket. And this order block is between 61.6 and 60,900. And again, that would line up here with our trend line, and this comparison with breaking that 20k peak. And again, that order block is shown here, and that golden pocket and that trend line all around that 61.8 area, 61.9 area. So I think that's about all. Hope you enjoyed that analysis. We'll have to see how this plays out, but I do think there's a lot of support in this area above 60k with that VPVR, the daily EMA ribbon, also this trend line and the golden pocket area on the pullback. So thanks for watching. I'm Bitcoin Mamo. I'll see you next time. Bye.